He had no elite degree, no political pedigree, and no mercy. Yet, he rose from a dirt-poor village to become the shadow shogun who ruled an entire nation. Behind his meteoric rise was a forbidden psychological weapon, the art of influence. Today, we decrypt the dark tactics of the man who bought souls and built an empire. This is the psychology of power. Kakuei Tanaka.
They called me a lowly contractor, but I became the man who ruled Japan. Listen up. I do not care who you are or where you come from.
If you are sitting there staring at a screen, wondering why your team does not follow you or why your life feels stuck, then you need to hear this. My name is Kakuei Tanaka.
I was born in a snowy backwater village in Japan. A poor farmer's son with no money, no fancy degree, and no connections. They called me a lowly contractor and an uneducated upstart. But I rose to become the Prime Minister of Japan. I led the world's second largest economy and made the elite of the elite bow to my vision. How? Not because I was the smartest man in the room, but because I mastered the one thing that matters more than anything else, the human heart. You think leadership is about sending emails or looking at charts? You are wrong. Leadership is about blood, sweat, and the invisible ties that bind people together. Today, I am going to teach you the secret of Hito Tarashi, the art of winning people over so completely that they would follow you into fire. Forget your textbooks. Forget your safe corporate talk. I am going to show you how a man with nothing conquered everything by understanding the raw reality of human nature. Pay attention, because the world does not wait for the weak. Let me tell you a story from the day I became the Minister of Finance. I was 44 years old. A man who only finished elementary school, standing in front of the most elite bureaucrats in the world, graduates from the top universities who looked at me like I was a piece of dirt. They expected a long, boring speech filled with lies. But I looked them in the eye and said this: "You are the geniuses. I am just a contractor, but we are in this together. I will do what I can, and I will tell you honestly what I cannot. But most importantly, every single responsibility for what happens here will be carried by me, Kakuei Tanaka. That is all." That was it. No long lectures. Why did those elites suddenly start working their fingers to the bone for me? Because in this cold world, everyone is terrified of making a mistake. Most leaders today are cowards. They hide behind their teams and point fingers when things go wrong. But a real leader is a shield. If you want people to give you their best, you must first give them the safety of your protection. I told them, go wild, do your best work, and if it fails, I am the one who will bow my head and take the hit. When you take the blame, you earn the right to lead. If you are not ready to be the first one to step into the mud, you have no business calling yourself a boss. Now, some of you might think that just being tough is enough. You are wrong. Leadership is not a blunt instrument. It is a precision tool. People often ask me how I control thousands of supporters and politicians. The secret was not my power. It was my memory. I made it my business to know everything about the people around me. I did not just know their names. I knew their birthdays, the names of their children, and the dates when their parents passed away.
Think about your own team for a second. Do you even know what keeps your assistant awake at night? Most of you are so obsessed with big data that you forget the small human reality right in front of you.
When a man came to me to ask for a favor, I wouldn't just talk about politics. I would ask, how is your son doing at his new university? Or is your mother's leg feeling any better? You should have seen their faces. They were shocked. They realized that to me, they were not just a number or a vote, they were a human being. In this digital age, everyone feels invisible. If you can make someone feel truly seen, they will give you their loyalty forever. I kept thousands of notes, and I studied them like my life depended on it. It's not about being nice. It's about respect. If you want to move a mountain, you first have to move the person standing in your way, and you move them by showing that you care about their life as much as you care about your own success. Put down your phone, look at the person in front of you, and start learning who they really are. Do not mistake my passion for mere emotion. People call me a bulldozer with a computer, and there was a damn good reason for that. You think you can lead just by being loud or charismatic? That is a fantasy. True leadership requires a level of preparation that would make most people quit. When I was the Minister of Post or the Minister of Finance, I didn't just sit in a leather chair and wait for briefings. I stayed up until the sun rose, memorizing every line of every law, every decimal point in every budget. When those elite bureaucrats came to me with their complicated charts, trying to confuse me with fancy words, I would stop them mid-sentence. I would tell them the exact page number of the law they were quoting and explain the ripple effect of a single yen being moved in the national budget. I knew the facts better than the experts. Why? Because you cannot protect your people if you are ignorant. Knowledge is the sharpest blade in a leader's arsenal. Most of you today are lazy. You skim the surface and rely on others to do the thinking. But if you do not know the why and the how of your business down to the bone, you are not a leader, you are a puppet. Competence is the foundation of trust. If your team sees that you work harder than them, that you study deeper than them, and that you understand the reality of the field better than anyone else, they will follow you into any battle. If you want to be a bulldozer that breaks through walls, you first need to build the engine with the cold, hard logic of facts. Listen to me carefully, because this is where most people get it wrong. They think money is just a way to pay for things. But in the world of power, money is a message. It is a way to heal a wound or to show respect when words are not enough. Some people call it dirty, but those people have never had to save a man's life or protect a family. I had 3 rules for using money. Never use it to buy a man, never give it with strings attached, and always give it when the person is at their absolute lowest point. If you give someone money when they are successful, it is just a bribe. But if you give it when they are desperate, when they are sick, or their child is in trouble, or they have lost an election, that is an act of humanity. And here is the most important part. You must do it in a way that protects their face, their pride. I never handed over cash and said, "Here, I'm helping you." I would throw a bundle of notes wrapped in newspaper and say, "Go buy some incense for your father's grave," or "Take your family for a meal." I made it seem like it was nothing. A leader who makes the recipient feel small is a failure. You want to lift people up, not crush them under the weight of an obligation. If you give, give completely. Don't ask for a receipt and don't expect a thank you. If you lend money, forget that you ever lent it. When you handle money with that kind of soul, people will realize that you are not just a boss, you are a man who understands the weight of a human life. Use your resources to build people, not just to build your bank account. That is how you create a loyalty that no competitor can ever buy. Nowadays, I see leaders who are terrified of their own shadows. They are so afraid of being called a bully that they let their teams drift into mediocrity. Listen to me. If you truly love your people, you must be prepared to strike them with the thunder of your anger. I was known for my temper. When someone did something dishonest or lazy, I would roar so loud the windows would shake. But there was a method to my madness. You must never, ever scold a man in front of his peers. Public humiliation is a poison that destroys the soul. It does not build character. When I had to set someone straight, I pulled them into a private room. I would break down exactly what they did wrong until they had nowhere to hide. But the moment the scolding was over, the healing began. I would never let a man leave my office with his head hanging low. I would slap him on the shoulder, look him in the eye, and say, "I am only this angry because I know you are better than this. I believe in you. Now go out there and prove me right." That same night, I would call his house or take him out for a drink. I would explain the why behind the anger. You see, scolding is an act of energy. It is a gift of your own spirit to someone else. If you are going to break a man's pride, you have a moral obligation to help him build a stronger one in its place. Don't send a cold email to complain about a mistake. That is the act of a coward. Look them in the face, give them your honesty, and then give them your hand to help them stand back up. That is how you turn a mistake into a lifelong bond. When you reach the top, you will find a place that is very quiet and very cold. It is called solitude. Many of you want the title of a leader, but you are not ready for the loneliness that comes with it. I made decisions that changed the map of Japan and the history of Asia. When I decided to fly to Beijing to normalize relations with China, half the world called me a traitor. My own party was screaming at me. There were people who wanted me dead for it, but I didn't flinch. Why? Because a leader's job is not to win a popularity contest. A leader's job is to see 10, 20 years into the future and move the world toward it. Most of you are paralyzed by the fear of criticism. You wait for a consensus, you wait for more data, you wait for someone else to say yes first.
But if everyone agrees with you, your decision probably doesn't matter. The truly great changes, the ones that define a generation, always start with a no from the masses.
You have to have the guts to stand alone in the wind. How do you find that courage? You ask yourself one question. Who will this benefit in the long run? Not your ego, not your bank account, but the people you serve.
If you can answer that with a clear conscience, then the noise of the world doesn't matter. If you are afraid of being hated, go sell ice cream. If you want to lead, prepare to be lonely.
But remember this, once you make that decision and you see it through, those same people who were screaming at you will be the ones cheering your name. Now, we have reached the end of our talk. I have told you about power, about money, and about the human heart. But none of it matters if you do not have a dream that is bigger than your own life.
People often ask me what drove me to work so hard, to sleep only 4 hours a night, and to fight until my body broke.
It was simple. I wanted to see a Japan where every child, even one born in a snowy mountain village like mine, could have a future. I wanted to connect the islands with tunnels and bridges to bring light where there was darkness. Leadership is not a career path. It is a mission. If you are just working for a paycheck or a title, you are wasting your life. You are holding a position that someone else with more fire in their gut should have. A true leader builds things that outlast their own name. Look at your team. Look at your organization. What will be left of your work 50 years from now? The world is changing. People say the era of the old giants is over. They say everything is about algorithms and artificial intelligence now, but they are wrong. As long as there are human beings on this earth, they will always crave a leader who has soul. They will always look for someone who is not afraid to get their hands dirty, someone who takes the blame, and someone who truly loves them. Stop hesitating. Stop making excuses about the economy or the younger generation. The world is exactly what you make of it. Go back to your people, look them in the eye, call them by their names, take the responsibility, and build something that makes people say, he was a real leader. Now, get to work. The field is waiting for you.
Thank you for joining us on this journey through the profound wisdom of Japan's great minds. If you found value in today's insights, please give this video a like and consider subscribing to Great Minds of Japan for more timeless lessons. We look forward to sharing more powerful stories and perspectives with you in our next video. Until then, stay inspired.